Bada bing, bada boom. Let's have a little fun and hopefully not tear down Tiago Splitter too much. Here we go. Offer it. All right. What are you telling your guys coming out of this, right? Out of the timeout or whatever you're coming out of. We know we're switching. We know who's getting the ball. It's DeMar DeRozan. And we know that somebody is going to switch on to him. So whoever we put on him to start this play is not the is somebody we don't want to guard him. So what we don't want is Jeremy Grant, our best defender, on him to start the play, right? We know he's going to switch. And because he's so far away from the ball, he's not going to fade screen away from the ball. We should know he's coming to the ball, all right? There may be an option going away from the ball, but that's a lot less of our worries considering how much time it takes to get over there, how much, like how many people are on the court that can get there in time. So we know off rip, everybody on the court, and coach should be calling this out. Tiago Splitter's got his hands on his hips. He should be calling out, Jeremy, you're switching off, you're switching off, you're switching off. Okay. He should be saying that right now. He should also probably be saying, right, whoever's up top, Denny, and whoever's on Chris Murray, which is his brother, Keegan Murray. Chris is on our team. Keegan Murray is the better one who has been underwhelming in recent years. He is on the left elbow, right? So we should be telling Denny and Chris off rip. They should already know, all right, you're probably going to be guarding DeMar DeRozan. One thing that you're doing when you're guarding DeMar DeRozan, okay? Anybody who knows ball knows this. Stay on the floor. Stay on the floor. Just stay on the floor. I mean, that is all you're telling your team. You're saying, DeMar DeRozan, there's 12 seconds left. It's not like he's catching it and he's got to get it off in 0.8, guys. We know he's going to pump fake. We know he's going to go for the three. And if we are over contesting, what's going to happen? So I'm getting a call, but we're down by 3. There's 12 seconds left. 15-1. Jeremy Grant's on DeMar DeRozan. That's already not ideal. Well, Blazers by 3. Kings. I really like this action from the Kings, okay? Sweeping DeMar under rather than over is huge. But what did we just talk about? We talked about the switch was going to have to happen, all right? There's going to be at least one off-ball screen on DeMar. Look, it happens. There's Chris. The one thing that he should know that coach should have already talked about, and I can't prove that he did not, right? But I watched this game, okay, and I can tell you that Chris Murray
bounds Westbrook along the near edge. Sissoko jumping it.
Right? Boom. He denied the ball on the inbounds. That was good, but we know he's getting the ball. We know he's getting. Russell Westbrook didn't pass him the ball. That is beyond me. Okay, that is beyond me. But it got to him somehow.
To Murray.
This is where it matters, guys. DeMar DeRozan, what does he do? How does he get his buckets? Right? He pump fakes. He was doing the Shea stuff before Shea. And so this is something that is truly just a coaching mistake. It truly is. Tiago, all game, every game, has his hands on his hips.
Tipped away, grabbed by DeRozan, pump fake, fires the three gun. DeMar DeRozan has tied the game. Blazers have a timeout.
We don't have a timeout. Here's another thing that really irks me. This game and every single other close fourth quarter overtime game that I have watched this year, we have not had our challenge. And it's not just with the Blazers. It's with most teams. They're only the Raptors coach, Dragan Petrov. No, that was the player. But whatever his name is, the Raptors coach, I've watched every single game where in the first half, players are like this, and he's like, no, why would I do that? We have a second half to play. And if you're a coach, why would you not plan on being in the game at that point? It doesn't matter how confident you are in the challenge, right? And JJ Redick spends almost every game a challenge in the first quarter because Luka or whoever's, and he's got to appease them. Here's the thing, guys. I'm not saying they need to drill these grown men, NBA players, telling them everything they need to do and, like trying to be their father, but there's things that they can affect, right? Having a challenge at the end of your game is huge. Your players, if they play their butt off into a double overtime game and you don't have your challenge, you lost them the game. And I've watched that happen 5 times this year, 5 to the Blazers. So I don't know the record off the top of my head, but I guarantee you give us 5 wins, we're a positive team. Then you take away injuries and you take away the times where we thought we were tanking for 5 games, right? And we have a really good record, okay? So I'm sorry, I know I'm ranting, but man, this is just unacceptable. Unacceptable. You're an NBA coach. You get paid millions. And this, I mean, he should be furious over on the sidelines. Now, you also don't have a timeout. There's 10 seconds left in a fourth quarter game. Coach, why do we not have a timeout? I'll tell you why they don't have a timeout, because they just took it to draw up the play that got them the 3, right? We should be getting the ball in, half court, boom, 4 seconds left, we're calling timeout. That's all there is to it. But we cannot do that because our coach does not prepare to be in the game at the end of the game. Ridiculous. Unacceptable. I mean,
10 seconds remaining.
All right.
Portland's
City, love you. But we got to get up the court, brother.
Up the floor, Sissoko will give to Grant. Got to get off the shot with 4. Grant up the floor for 2 with 1. He'll for the win.
It's hard to snap out of it and not beat yourself up for prior plays. Wow.
I don't know what we're talking about going into overtime. This game was a while ago, so I can't tell you all the details of exactly what happened like I can with a game that happened yesterday. And we'll maybe look at that in a bit if I have time. But, what we should be talking about going into overtime is, all right, we are not getting clumsy fouls early in overtime. We're not putting them in the bonus. We're not going to get, hands-on fouls on pump fakes on DeMar DeRozan with 15 seconds left, because we're not going to do silly fouls, okay? We're protecting the basket. There cannot be offensive rebounds. That's the one thing I remember about this game is their offensive rebounding was amazing. Reynard and some of their guys that have come out this season is, unexpected, just blossoming talents. Like these guys, they were killing us. So we got to rebound and we got to be sound defensively.
The opponent.
Boom. All right. So they double off the screen. Donovan does a short slip. This is correct. All right. As soon as he catches this ball, he should be taking one step up to draw Russell Westbrook up. Our corner man, Jeremy Grant, should be cutting, and City should be going to the corner, right? One of those people will be open every time. Every time. It's that simple. I'm sure we get a bucket, but let's
juice.
Boom, right? So the cutter did cut. City's not shifting corner, but that's okay because he stays out of the passing lane. DeMar DeRozan would be in the passing lane, right? And Donovan Clingan's got to make a quick decision. This is where he's got a little bit of space to get better. And he has a lot of space to get better in other areas. And he's already very good at this, right? Like generally for his size and his coordination, like he's an amazing passer and decision maker.
They are
right here. Boom. Pass should have already been out of his hands. If it wasn't going down to that cutter, it should be to City right now. Left wing.
Ready to go. So the Blazers mentally got to lock in.
Sissoko pump fakes, drives into the lane.
But this is what I mean, right? Like it's just that's not necessarily coaching, but it's something simple like that. Like we've got to be, as soon as Donovan's hitting it, left wing, he's kicking that, and we're shooting it immediately.
Pass deflected, grabbed by Murray, double team between defenders.
I remember Chris Murray getting that tough bucket. I'll be honest, guys. I watched a lot of Blazers. That's the only guy on our team I'm not a big fan of. That was the toughest move, though, with that being said, I've ever seen him do.
That's laid it in.
Yes, sir. Get it back, Chris.
So the Blazers strike first here in the overtime.
The principle is where we're really going to get into a breakdown. All right, so they do a little stagger screen off rip, okay? The Kings are very good at almost every single time they bring the ball up the court in a critical situation, first quarter, fourth quarter, or overtime, they're getting into some type of set. It could be a basic set, right? And I don't even know if I would call this a set more or less than I would an action. But let's see what they do. I guarantee you one of these two screeners is going to slip, and one of them is going to pop out, right? But I do like the action. Donovan Clingan's got to be stepping up to show face here until whoever's guarding Keegan Murray, I think Chris, can get all the way over, right? Jeremy Grant's got to be aware of DeMar DeRozan.
This went on a 22-6 run in the fourth after Giovanni Kamara fouled out of the game. Crossing over Westbrook into the lane. That is snuffed and grabbed by Clingan. Donovan with the rebuke and then reeled it in.
All right, folks, what are we getting into, right? I don't think he's calling out anything. I'm not trying to be too picky. And maybe this action is like, ideally what we're getting into. Honestly, when I think about it. Denny Avdia, he was having a good game, and he is our best player. He's an amazing player. I like a high ball screen to start.
Avdia up the floor.
We switch it. Boom, right there. We got to be hitting Donovan off rip. Boom, behind the back pass, because Donovan can't hit that shot.
Keon Ellis
took to
on the high screen.
But he drew him in. I wish Donovan Clingan looked to shoot. But, in the NBA, what happens when you don't get a shot immediately, right? Unless you're Kyrie Irving or you have very specific guys, 2 to 3 guys on every team that are allowed to really work out, right? Other than that, you're getting into an action. That's what the NBA is now, guys, right? So I can't be too picky on Tiago saying like, oh, we got to run a set over, blah, blah, blah. Because at the end of the day, what really happens is a guy brings the ball up the court and he either passes it into a ball screen or he gets a ball screen. Off of that, if they don't get the look they like, they immediately kick it out and go into a DHO. Off of that DHO, he's getting downhill 2 feet in the paint. We're kicking out, swing, swing. If we don't like that, another DHO or ball screen. That's what the NBA is now, guys. I understand that. I'm all for it. In fact, efficiency and analytics tell me that is the best thing to do, right, on offense. Assuming that you're not too worried about like a 7-second offense or a slow where I'm getting the last 4 seconds of a shot clock shot, type offense, then that's what I'm concerned about.
Out Clingan, looking to make a pass with.
All right, so Donovan Clingan looks back. He looks into what do we talk about? A lot of times it's like a pitch into a ball screen or like a pitch into a DHO. It's all the same type of thing, just variations of a similar.
13 to shoot.
He denies it, which is good.
Then he comes to the ball.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna skip past that. I need to take a little bit less time.
Just bringing it down.
All right, so we get a little pin down screen. It's pretty shitty, crappy. Because Denny Avdia, he's got to be curling that around the screen, right? If he wanted to stop right there, it would be because whoever's coming over that or on that screen is going under, but he's not doing that. He's going over. So he definitely it's just a little bit late.
Working on Murray.
Didn't at first. Gets caught in traffic.
Blazers bringing it down. Off it comes to Avdia.
Can't get the ball.
Working on Murray, coughed it up, rebound, and the ball corralled by Ellis. Lead pass to Murray. That's broken up.
That's one thing I love about Jeremy Grant.
Rebound.
Our coach is a very good emphasizer of hustling and intangibles. I got to give it to him. Jeremy Grant, there's a reason we have guys like Matisse Thybulle still on the roster. Right. I thought we were going to cut him. I'm surprised we haven't by now, but there is a reason. It's culture. It's culture. We're trying to build a culture around defense, intangibles, hustle, Tumani Kamara type play style. We want that to wear off on the Shaden Sharps and the Scoot Hendersons and whoever, even the Damian Lillards for all I care. I mean, this is what we're trying to do. And one thing I love is this close game.
And the ball corralled by Ellis. Lead pass to Murray. That's broken up by Grant.
Yes, Kevin B. It seemed like it was a little congested. A tough little angle to make that pass with the defense that was running back. Congested. A tough little angle to make that.
Boom. So we're showing high. Okay. We're gonna blitz the ball screen. That's what we call a blitzing the ball screen. So essentially the guy who's guarding the screener is immediately coming up, right? He's cutting off that wide side. But the guy guarding the ball is also going over. And they're essentially just kind of doing like a mini trap where they're a little bit more focused on getting out and sprinting to the next man off the pass out, right? So Denny sees this. He's very good at just being a good decision maker up here. Donovan gets it. And this is where the money happens, okay? He's got to be swinging it to Jeremy right away. We got 2 guys worried about our cutter, okay? Good job to Chris. And this is one thing I'll admit. I got to admit, man, Tiago does a good job in practice or whatever of influencing these guys to know when to cut, okay? That is something that is huge in the NBA right now, is once we get it to that middle, we got one guy on wing, and he's either staying wing or shifting corner, and the man from the corner is cutting. Because essentially what that does is it makes the man in the passing lane make a really tough decision. And now you do need a decent passer at this high elbow, high, whatever. But for the most part, this action is going to work pretty much every time, assuming that you have somebody who's like somewhat dangerous from this position. Now, Donovan Clingan He's not going to shoot a jumper here. He might hit a little push shot. It's not my favorite shot from him, but what he can do is one dribble and dunk it on your head. And so he's a threat to do that. We got a cutter. We got a man spacing. I like it. Okay. So earlier I was like, oh, are we going to get into a set, or are we just going to do a Denny of D action? Well, it looks to me like that's probably the best thing for us to do right now. And offense is often not necessarily where
inside he finds
I have
Jeremy Grant for three, and he zips an arrow in there. The Blazers take a lead of 5 here in the overtime.
Fantastic look from Donovan Clingan.
Usually, guys, it's usually on the things that, to be honest, are like the main coaching things, right? Like, yes, a coach does need to be able to draw a good baseline out of bounds play or sideline out of bounds play, or have different things for different scenarios and situations. I'm all for that. I'm with it. I understand. But the main things that you can get right every single game consistently is the timeouts, the challenges, and the defensive approach, right? The defense may collapse, but you can get the approach right. And so I don't mind having City on DeMar here, but we had Jeremy on him when we knew there was a switch. And at a time where it's spaced out in isolation, we have City on him. It's just a little bit confusing to me, I also just hate how high. Like, what is Chris Murray doing? Oh, my goodness. Get in the gap. I'm like, what's that guy? Awful Coaching? I'm like his little baby. I'm like his son. Because what are you doing? You're an NBA player. Tiago, I'll give him a little credit. He's getting a little shuffle, right? He's saying something. I'm not sure if it's that. Nope, it wasn't. It wasn't. All right. So now we got DeMar DeRozan, one of the best drivers ever. 2 feet in the paint, shoot 1 foot in the paint, a toe in the paint, and he's driving. Our help side's coming from behind, right? We're going to have a guy stepping up in the dunker spot and a guy in the corner, man. We are cooked. We're already cooked. The defense is cooked. Now, they may not make a shot here. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't watched this game in 2 months. But I can tell you right now that they've got the advantage they want, and they're going to get the shot.
DeRozan bullies his way inside. Right. Sissoko and Murray converge in a foul on the Blazers. Chris Murray picks up his 5th foul, sending DeRozan to the line.
Simple things like that, right? He has 5 seconds.
5 here in the overtime.
Yell at Chris Murray as we're bringing the ball up the court. Russell Westbrook is a threat to get downhill. He's a threat to blow past you when you're too far out on him. What he's not a super big threat to do is to shoot a catch and shoot 3 from the Moda Center sign or logo, whatever, right? So what are we doing? Why do we even have Chris Murray in at the end of an overtime game? I know that we were more injured during this time, but I can see 3 guys on the bench right now who need to be in the game. If I remember correctly, Toumani Camara had a really rough one. Right? He shot, I think, 0 for 8 from 3 is bad. And he wasn't himself defensively. And then he came back and he kind of reestablished himself in the next couple games. But, man, I don't care how bad of a game he's had in. Should put Rob Will in, right? We don't – we do a lot of double big man with him and Clingan. It's going to work in the future if we decide to be competitive. It's the only reason we didn't trade him, Rob Will, at the deadline, right? I'm not a huge Chris Murray hater, but God, get him out the game, coach. Get him out the game. And why are we not talking right here? We should be saying we're forcing DeMar DeRozan left. I know he's an NBA player. Doesn't matter. Trust me, I watch ball. I know he's better going to his right. Right? To his left, he's going to pull up, but if you stay on the ground, you're good. You're good. He's going to pump fake before he pulls up. And so it's statistics too. Like in the last, I think it's overtime or last 3 minutes of a game, on his shots, I think it was 85% of them he pump fakes. Unbelievable. Obviously not free throws, but so that's a real stat, or at least it was at one point. I don't know if that's true anymore. It may have been last season. But the point is, these are simple things that a coach can prepare his team for, right? We should know. I don't care if we had a game last night. We should know that we're playing DeMar DeRozan and we're staying on the floor. We should know we're getting in the gap. It's Russell Westbrook and DeMar DeRozan, and we're guarding them at half court. What are we doing, right? Sitting Toumani Camara, sitting our all-world, NBA perimeter defender who's switchable, These are two guys who are not necessarily known for their defense. I guess City is, but
fantastic look from Donovan.
So listen, we know what happens. I'm gonna skip past it.
Chris Murray picks up his fifth foul, sending DeRozan to the line.
This is what's unacceptable, guys.
DeMar DeRozan, 20 points tonight in 31 minutes.
That may make this copyright strike unlawful.
EVE Online is a vast.
Or you're probably also going to get out.
The veteran of 17 camp.
Pretty funny.
Portland up 3:40 to go in the overtime. And they get another opportunity after squandering an 18-point lead with 5 minutes remaining. Advia crossing over.
I don't mind it, but here's the problem. Here's what we can't have. We cannot have Denny driving and 4 guys are on the baseline. What do we look at the court? What is happening? Tiago, what are we doing? Space. Put somebody at the top of the key. Klingen hits that shot at a high clip. Jeremy Grant shoots 40% from 3. Why is he not right behind him for a little reverse pivot kick out, a little behind the back, a little behind the head, right? I understand. Put a person in both dunker spots. I'm cool with it. It's Denny Avdia. He's going to make a play. But 4 people, we put them
right to left. The 1-2 to the cup. Switches to the right hand. Scoops and scores off the window.
This is what all stars do. They close games when their teams need them.
Denny with the right. Sissoko.
We get a foul.
They close games when their teams need them.
Denny with the right. Sissoko fouls on the inbound. DeRozan triggers a 3 and tapped in by Renault. With the right. Sissoko fouls on the
close games when their teams need them.
Denny with the right. Sissoko
to not box out, but he kind of comes from Chris Murray's side. It's
fouls on the inbounds. DeRozan triggers a 3 and tapped in by Renault
again. Kev, you were right. You were all over him at the beginning of this game. That energy is contagious from him.
He has 29 tonight with 10 boards.
There he goes.
Second-round pick, rookie from Stanford. Grant bounces over to Denny. Has a nice angle, but he's turned outside by Westbrook. Finds Grant. Aims a 3. Missed it. Rebound.
All that crap talking about Chris Murray. I do remember.
In these United States.
I truly do.
And he steers into free throw for a 3-point play. The Blazers lead at 125-119, 2:53 remaining in overtime.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Westbrook will let it roll. Midcourt will pick it up.
Get back. You're at a disadvantage. What are you doing? Double down, Jimmy. He's got this here. Run it. Right,
Denny will slow it up, Lamar.
He went in there like he want that post game.
Let's see if Tiago is on him.
The big man, he's double teamed, surrounded, ball ripped away. Obvious got the steal.
Right.
Denny will slow it up, Lamar.
He went in there like he want that post game box. He won the 2 Molly Awards the way he went in there.
He'll settle for a win right now.
He wasn't guarding nobody. He just ran straight in there.
He gets in deep. Sissoko a 3.
The way he went in there
to settle for a win right now.
Screen because he wants to pick on DeMar DeRozan. Is it that much different to say, it's similar, like to pick on Russ, right? Like, yeah, he's a antsy defender. Like he'll get at you, right? But he's not what he once was, and he's never necessarily been just an amazing on-ball perimeter defender, right? He gets steals in passing lanes. He's quick. He can anticipate. But Denny Avdia, like, come on. That's what we should have been looking for.
He wasn't guarding nobody. He just ran straight in there.
Blazers up 6. He gets in deep. Sissoko a 3. Back out. And the long rebound gathered in by DeRozan. DeMar the other way. Switches right to left. That's rejected. Count the bucket.
When it's like a game like this, and it's been in the history of the Blazers.
Was it clean? It looked clean from that angle we just saw. Yeah, the crowd is agreeing now. But there's nothing
in general, overtime, fourth quarter, he's going to get to that bucket. And you're going to foul him.
Sissoko called with a foul. That's why DeRozan steps up and nails the free throw. 125-122. DeRozan with 24. 2:17 to go in the overtime.
Yep. They knew it. The point where, like, they didn't.
Then he drives. It looks like Westbrook is going to chase and be a part of this play.
Jeremy, but they're playing out of that. I don't mind it.
Jeremy spins away from the line. Jeremy spins away from the line.
Yeah. I mean, and I love
spins away from the line.
You know what I mean? This is what I love. I love basketball. I love getting the hype. I love plays like that. Whether it's like a body, whether it's a layer, whether it's like mixing somebody up, I love it. This is where DeMar. Oh my goodness. Tiago's up.
Operating, squares up, fires.
Oh man, Jeremy actually did a decent job trying to score, but it's so hard.
Which is why they're reacting as they are, but there's nothing the Blazers can do about it.
DeRozan knocks down the second free throw, 127, 124, 150 remaining in overtime.
Let's see what we get into, boys. I'll tell you what we're going to get into. High ball screen, Donovan getting it at the high elbow, and then he's making a play with City cutting on the baseline and Jeremy Grant drifting corner.
Obvia, point forward, up the floor.
Didn't get the ball at the high elbow, right? But that's because of the defensive coverage. Then he does the exact right thing. He gets to his spot. He starts to crab, trying to take Russell Westbrook off the play. And what happens here, right? If he can get Raynard to fully commit, Donovan Clingan's got DeMar on his back, right? If DeMar overcommits to that, he's kicking a corner. If Keon Ellis overcommits to that, he's kicking to Jeremy Grant. So really and truthfully, guys, like NBA, yes, skill. These guys are skilled. Some a lot more than others. But really what it comes down to is athleticism, their consistency, right? Being an NBA player is a really tough life as far as just like being consistent and you know, always doing the hard things and showing up, and like people don't give them enough credit for that. But number three, like what makes like good teams other than teams like the Lakers who just have Luka, is decision making, and that's really what it boils down to. And so that's what we broke that down. Super simple. He ends up
swinging outside to Grant.
Jeremy. We're getting downhill. He should already be hitting Donovan Clingan or throwing it up for the lob.
Hesitates, now glides in, double team, out to Sissoko, fakes the three. Bounces over, Jeremy turns out.
This is what I mean with the decision making. What got us at that?
Grant 20 tonight. Blazers on top here by 5 into the lane. Westbrook dives to the racket.
And like here, like
20 tonight.
What Russell Westbrook's a very good player at getting a strong bump. But we talked about the action, right? Everything in the NBA got an action. What gets him this bucket? Yeah, it's a good lay. He gets a little bump. It's long. But the fake action is what gets him the bucket. Chris Murray is about to blitz this DHO. He thinks it's a DHO coming to Keegan, excuse me. And then City, who just assumed it was and then stayed back because he thought he was going to swap, is now out of position.
Blazers.
Boom, that little slip. So now we're getting downhill. Russell Westbrook's got a clear lane to the basket, and he's either taking it all the way or he's hitting, you know, Keon Ellis corner, blah, 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 blah. Here's my review. This is just
20 tonight. Blazers on.
See that we've got to build in practice, but like right here, boom, Denny should be stepping up. Should he be stepping up towards the middle of the court? No. He should be stepping up to where there's at least a hand in that passing lane, and he's making the decision tough for us, which throws off that autonomous movement variability, right? Which is something that we talk about in training. We'll talk about that later. But Denny has got to stun at the ball, right? Jeremy, stun at the ball. We teach this in middle school, right? A little stunt. Get a hand in there. Don't hit him, but throw him off his timing. Give City half a second to get back. That way Donovan Clingan doesn't have to
by 5 into the lane. Westbrook dives to the rack and leads it with the offhand.
He's made a couple of those while absorbing a bump that could easily put him at the line. Blazers got to be careful on some of those drives.
Portland, the 3-point pad, 117.
They've gotten it to the point where, you know, there was times where they just weren't guarding the screener, and they were starting in like almost like a zone-esque thing. There are times where, you know, they're putting whoever on City or Donovan Clingan that they want on Denny already to start the play so that when they do swap, it's ideal. And then now they're kind of having Keon Ellis do this thing where Donovan Clingan's not being guarded. So Keon Ellis is just kind of like a free safety of sorts, right? He's just kind of roaming over and under and around Donovan Clingan.
Blazers got to be careful on some of those drives.
Portland, the 3-point pad.
This shot, like he's Damian Lillard, it makes it very hard when we are this predictable. Like I said, I'm not against us running an action that works for us, right? But coach, we cannot do the same thing every time up the court. in a overtime game. 4 minutes in overtime, we brought the ball, 8 times? We've done the same thing every time. Not a pin down screen, not a stagger screen. We're not slipping anything. We don't have any off-ball actions. We haven't even gotten into a single DHO that was not forced because, we were about to turn the ball over. And this is what's frustrating to me, right?
17 to go in OT. Denny using clock, 11 seconds to shoot. High screen set by Klingon. Ellis goes under the screen.
Nothing happens. We were so predictable, and we had been doing that for all of overtime. Coach, if that is what you want to win the game with, we should not do that every play 10 times before it's most important. The time where it's most important to implement it, right? And so this is another thing with Coach, is we have got to mix that up. We have to. Even just do the same thing with a couple different people. But right now it's been Denny, and it's just been Donovan Klingon and City screens the entire overtime. There hasn't been a single other action, play or set or look that we haven't gotten out of a broken play.
Obvious to Sissoko. The exchange passes. Denny lowers his head, drives it. He is fouled on approach in the act of shooting, and will shoot 2.
We are good enough, especially Denny. I think he's close.
To the line steers the first one up and in.
Because it's so, in a way, allows his teammates.
Pumps in the second.
They don't even need to. And they're very
Blazers 131, Sacramento 126, 104 remaining in overtime. Chris Murray scoring the first bucket of overtime.
I think we got spoiled to the point where we just think it'll come to us. We don't have to do anything on that. There is no creativity. There is no step. There is no organization. System or planning.
This thing is not over. The Blazers had a similar lead
like this. What is Tiago doing? He's like, yeah, I'm not going to lie. We did almost get it.
The Blazers had a similar lead like this.
Yeah.
But it's like that's the most worked up I've seen them all game, right? I'm trying to keep it pretty calm and chill, and I've been getting worked up on this computer screen. So it's like, this is a problem for me. This is a problem. We had 2 timeouts to start overtime. I'm glad we still have them, but I am very surprised. I'm sorry, Tiago, but it's the truth. I know for a fact that you spent your challenge some point in the first half, and whether you got it back or not, that was just idiotic. Right, we're up by 5. We should have no way.
Sacramento came inside it up. Clock management.
We're getting the bucket.
Then he danced across the timeline just in time. He avoids it.
So they're going to blitz this eyeball screen. Immediate blitz. See, this is the thing. Like, I'm watching this game, and I truly feel like we're being outcoached. Like, they have approaches. They have things they're throwing at us to throw us off. They're going under ball screens and over, and sometimes blitzing, and sometimes switching, and sometimes and they went into zone at one point. What have we done other than tell our players, go make it work? And so that's really frustrating for me as somebody who watches every game, every single game, and loves these guys like they're brothers. I ain't even met them, right? And this goes back to like whenever Chauncey Billups got fired, I really thought Nate Bjorgen, if I'm saying that name right, was going to be our head coach. He is amazing. Okay. And I'm starting to believe I've tried to give it time. I want Tiago to be good. I do. But it's getting to the point where I just can't deny it anymore. Nate should have been the coach, and it's hurting us, right? We tried to let a coach who had never coached before in his life learn to coach for 3 years. He was betting against us. But then we get a guy who also needs to learn to coach. Nate Bjorgen was ready, right? Like, Tiago Splitter is not ready. I'm not saying he's not a great basketball mind. In fact, I know he is. But when he knows where his liberties and his freedoms are, instead of them just being such a broad spectrum that he doesn't know what to, channel his efforts into. That's his problem right now. He doesn't know what he is as a coach. He has no clue what his approach is and the things that he wants to run on offense and the things he wants to mix in and the defensive strategies, right? These things are important. And so that's what's frustrating to me. They're blitzing the ball screen. It's the same action over and over and over. I'm very surprised that Russell Westbrook's not a little bit higher trying to steal this ball from Donovan Clingan. Denny Avdia, kind of recognizing that it's probably going to happen, tries to get the outside of that blitz, right? But generally, I guess this is a decent look, right? We got Denny Avdia going downhill. We're going to have numbers. Okay? We're going to have numbers. Boom, numbers. Problem is we got to make the right play. Preferably Donovan Clingan would immediately be setting that back screen. But that's really hard to think about in real time. I know it's easier said than done. Even me as when I play, I can hoop a little bit, but some of these things you just don't think about in real time. But in general, it just sucks that we're running the same action.
He avoids a double team. He throws cross court to Sissoko. Pitches inside to Clingan. Juggled it. Got it back, and then his foul as he goes up. He was held by Ronaldo.
DC is wide open. CD knew that.
Clingan's free throw rolls off. Step into the line. Blazers up 5.
He gets into it, and who cares?
Second free throw right through. Looks to the heavens.
That was something to see. We had 3
second free throw right through. He looks to the
This
heavens.
is tough. Oh man,
132, 126, 31 seconds remaining in overtime.
I love the idea, the concept of being the full court, aggressive, tenacious team. But coach, there's times for that. We can be tenacious and aggressive and nasty without picking up full court or without jeopardizing our defensive coverage. Right. This is just silly, coach. And the fact that you haven't told City and Chris that, the exact statement is stupid.
Bring it across midcourt, being watched.
All right. So we got another stagger screen. We usually in the NBA, the top high stagger screen is the one that's going to roll to the basket. The bottom stagger screen is going to come up for a DHO, right? Or if somebody's already picked up the ball like they have here, he's probably just going to get a little bounce pass curling towards the middle of the court. And that's assuming he's not passing it to Keegan Murray, who it doesn't look like he is. That's exactly what happened. I'm surprised DeMar DeRozan didn't curl that, but he's smart. Yeah, he's a genius. This is actually smart. He just knows all the actions going away from him. And so he catches that ball. I guarantee you, coach wanted him coming this way. He wanted him coming towards the strong side of the court, open side of the court. But he caught that ball and he squares up because he knows he's got space to work.
Along the edge, DeRozan, a 3 got DeMar. Watched by Sissoko.
I really don't have much to say here. I'm not sure there's anything Tiago could have told him differently, could have been calling out or emphasizing. It's a great contest by one of the best defenders.
Along the edge, DeRozan, a 3 got.
That's exactly why some teams will now foul when they're up 6.
With just one timeout remaining.
So they get to run this inbound play again between Denny and Jeremy. And let's see if they filter out that court.
Right here, okay? We've got Denny and we've got, who's that, Jeremy Grant in the backcourt. Preferably me, personally, okay? I'm putting Denny or whoever I want getting the ball as the inbounder, right? Now, if you want to limit the number of passes or the limit the opportunity for turnovers, I understand that. And then maybe you do have Denny coming off the ball. But either way, if I'm the Kings, I already know off rip on this action, okay? I already know Denny Avdia is going to be going towards the goal. He's coming from the backcourt into the front court with momentum, trying to catch it downhill, okay? So that's very predictable. This is it's more of the problem, right? This is kind of what you draw up in middle school, there's creative ways to throw the defense off. I have a billion sideline out of bounds plays for this exact scenario. All right, I'm not saying I need to be the Blazers coach, but guys, maybe I'm calling for it. Maybe it's time to fire Tiago Splitter. Maybe after this season, we come to terms with, or we just ask him. In fact, I don't want to fire him. I love him as part of the organization, but we got to come to terms you have things that you provide for us, but we have to accept those and not ask more out of you. Because asking more out of him has not worked. It hasn't. It hasn't worked for me or the players or anybody. And if we wait for that conclusion, for us to act on that conclusion until Dame's back and everybody's healthy and the competition timeline starts to work and but sadly also wean its way off, right? We have got to be past this. And right now we're not past this. And so I want to know Portland Trailblazers. I hope, I pray somebody affiliated with the Blazers can see this, because I want to know, what are we expecting out of Tiago Splitter? What are we asking out of him? What do we need to see by the end of the season? What is enough? Because I know what's enough as far as my standards, but my standards are with the expectation that we're competing for a championship in the next 3 years. And assuming that you put as many chips into what we have, right? We could have gone full rebuild mode, but we didn't. We went and got Drew Holiday next to Dame because we plan on competing with Dame. We don't plan on just letting them, live along 20 and 21-year-olds. And right? So with that understanding that I believe most of the Blazers franchise has, I want to know what do we think is going to happen if there's not change? And so that's what I'm doing. I'm calling for change. I like him. I want him with us, but not as the head coach.
Corner.
I believe we win this thing.
There you go. There you go. But not a good pass.
But that's the problem. That's the problem. What is going on? We got 5 people on the court, and there's only 2 that are in action, right? That is a big problem. This is the most predictable thing I've ever seen. Denny Avdia is getting screened to come towards the ball, and then Jeremy Grant's going to go to the corner. The one rule of basketball that you do not do against the press, especially late game when it's this close. You don't go to the corner. You don't catch it in the corner. You don't pass it to the guy in the corner. But what is Tiago Splitter having them do? They're having the best player, the guy that everybody knows we want the ball to get to, going towards the ball. Most predictable thing ever. Russ, these guys, they've seen that a billion times in their life. They've seen that at their child's AAU games, right? And then we have Jeremy Grant going to the corner. Here's the solution. Actually, I have a billion solutions, but in this scenario, without actually changing the concept, all you have to do, flash Donovan Clingan up, throw that ball over, right? You got to zip it there, but if you can look off Denny and Jeremy Grant's action to bring up DeMar DeRozan, you just have Donovan Clingan come to half court, right? And then from there, he's passing it off, getting into an action, whatever, they'll foul. But coach, in a late game situation, we know that especially one where we know they're going to foul, so they're able to be extra aggressive. And let's be honest, if you know ball, the refs are going to call it different in that scenario too. What we have to have a play to get our best guy the ball and securely to shoot free throws. This is the type of stuff that's going on.
There you go. There you go. But not a good pass.
Keegan Murray steals, saves to Renault, up and comes to DeMar DeRozan. Blazers elect to foul quickly this time before a shot is attempted.
So Murray's able to run around him into the steal. It's a minor detail, but it makes or breaks that play.
And I didn't think that pass was thrown with any kind of conviction or pace.
Probably because the lack of foot advantage. So now you're tentative to make the pass.
DeRozan hits both free throws. It's a 132-131 deal. 17 and 4/10 seconds remaining. They do have a timeout remaining, and they've got to use it because they can't get it in bounds.
Yeah, they can run
seconds remaining. They do have a timeout.
Wow. This is our baseline out of bounds.
Free throws. It's a 1.
We're up by 1. We've got to get the ball in and down the court. What are we doing?
32-131 deal. 7.
These guys don't know who's
17 and 4/10 seconds remaining.
They're both running the same direction. He's coming to the ball. Denny, that's a big no-no. The box out stuff has got to stop. Coach, we should have already coached that away a long time ago. City's heading up the court. That's the only decent look. But Donovan has got to be flashing fast as he can possibly run to the top of the key. But he's running across that sideline. We got Jeremy Grant just, Twitter feet. Well, I don't even know, what does that word even mean? But, his feet are just moving everywhere. He's super confused, super, everything is just a in this play. And then we throw a one-hand leaning and landing inbounds.
They've got to use it because they can't get it in bounds.
Yeah, they can run Denny. I don't know if they're going to do it back here.
Yeah, there he is.
But he didn't get any kind of foot advantage.
Got to bring it in bounds, and then Clingan did
it back here.
This is the first time we've ran somewhat of a not predictable action yet. Here's my problem.
Use it because they can't get it in bounds.
Starting out in the line. Correct. We're starting out in the line formation. Jeremy and Denny coming to the ball with no screen is
they can run Denny. I don't know if they're going to do it.
Unacceptable. Russ is able to take him away immediately. No, not a single person even gets in front of Russ, even slows him down. Jeremy Grant just stands there.
Back here. Yeah.
Comes to the ball. We got somebody blitzing that.
Yeah, there he is.
Thank God Donovan Clingan, the one person that I would be okay with doing a box out inbounds pass,
but he didn't,
is there, right? Now, if Tiago Splitter called this, meaning to pass that into Donovan Clingan and clear it out for him, it's a pretty good play. We should have probably ran that past, 4 or 5 plays? But if it was for that purpose, I like it. It worked.
Get any kind of
got to bring it in bounds, and then Clingan did get position, but they immediately fouled Clingan,
and it required Denny coming a little closer to the ball.
Exactly.
He could have done it with his speed.
Man, I love that play. Why is it Donovan Clingan? I get it. I know. I just said I would be okay with him doing a box out. Freak the box out, the inbounds pass, right? It's not about that. It's about having our best player getting the ball securely. That should be able to happen without, a massive mistake from the person passing in the ball. And so, great play, Tiago. Why is the guy who shoots 60% getting the ball there? It was wide open. He could have gotten the ball, he could have caught that with his pinky. He could have juggled that before, he brought it down. It was wide open. Great play. Why Donovan Clingan? And so I'm watching this, just reading and reacting, right? I didn't come into this with notes at this point, be mad at blah, blah, blah. But this is the type of stuff I'm seeing every game. And we have watched 5 minutes of basketball, boys. But this is 5 minutes of important basketball. How many things have I said that if the coach called out or the coach talked about in a timeout, or if the coach actually implemented in a timeout, or if we just actually had a decent type of play call, or we put this person here, we covered them this way, right? If we switch up the sets we're running or the actions we're running, these things are important. These things would make us up 10, 15, 20 in an overtime game, much less if we implement them from the beginning of the game. And every game I'll watch the game and I think our team is better than the other team. Why is the score close? And then I realize the intangibles, the small things, the things that a coach can cover for his team. And so, yeah, I'm going a little bit crazy, guys. I'm going a little bit crazy because there are college coaches out there, D3, JUCO, NAIA, guys that aren't actually coaching yet, who are capable of these things. I know there's a lot of variables to it. And maybe there's some that I can't even grasp because I'm young. But these guys coaching are grown men, right? JJ Redick, the amount of games the Lakers have had where he didn't have his challenge, the amount of times, nowadays he just gets technicals for yelling at the ref whenever Luke is mad because he's trying to get Luka's trust back, or he's trying to get the Lakers' trust back. It's just pandering to grown-ass men, excuse me. And that's just the truth of it. JJ Redick's an amazing coach, but he doesn't channel his efforts into the things that make him an amazing coach. When he draws up an amazing play, the little things that he's emphasizing, the guys don't care. In fact, they almost intentionally do it wrong sometimes. I cannot fathom how hard it is to coach the LA Lakers. That's went off on a tangent right there, but with the Blazers, man, I would love to have JJ Redick, because the thing is, this is the type of team he needs to coach. This is the type of team. This is the group of guys. And Blazers, if we decide, hey, Nate still wants to be an assistant, or we just decide to not use his talents correctly, then that's the guy to go to get.
Nobody's catching him.
He just missed 2 free throws. Oh, man, this is what I'm talking about, guys. It's just proving my point after I say it. I promise, I'm not watching this game and then writing down notes. No. I watched this game 2 months ago. And so these are the things that are unacceptable.
Kev, even he could have done it. And with his speed, nobody's catching him.
Clingan steps up, misses 2. Kings have possession of the basketball on the rebound and call their switch by Sissoko. DeMar DeRozan handling it between the wickets. Skipping with it. Back.
I think we get crazy lucky.
Turns, fires, fades, and hits.
We do not get crazy lucky there. I want to see how we're defending coming out
of the basketball on the rebound and call their final timeout.
My last thing. All right, so I'm not sure what he's telling them coverages out of this ball screen. I assume automatic switch. Look, Jeremy Grant's – no, never mind. No. I thought he was looking at Tiago Splitter. I think he's looking at the ref. I was going to say he's looking at Tiago Splitter for the coverage, but no, I think he knows it's switch. I think he is a little bit screen. So they automatically switch, which I guess is okay. You know, like there's so many variables that could go wrong within a blitz or an ice or some of those more complex actions of a pick and roll to whatever complexity there is. So a pick and roll, but so I understand the switch and I understand that Jeremy and City are not different enough defensively for that to matter. Here's the problem I have though is, just positioning. Denny's just got to be one step in the paint. He's got to have a foot in the paint. Jeremy's perfect. Jeremy's just about perfect. Maybe tilted a little bit towards more towards Russell Westbrook so he doesn't make that cut.
By Sissoko. Handling it between the wickets.
Skipping with open space. Why? Because Jeremy's the one in good position. Chris Murray, in fact, is in position for him to get backdoored, but also to not really help. Like, he's got to tilt more towards the inside of the court. And he's got to get back to where Keegan Murray is a little bit more even with him. Guys, positioning and spacing are just the most unacceptable consistent issues within a team, especially an NBA team, because that's what the NBA is, right? And all these guys like, oh, we do analytics. There's not so much sets. It's all this action, and then I'm preferring this shot over this shot. But, we actually do have to incorporate those analytics at some point. Like at Tiago, if you're not going to be an analytics guy, you got to be a set guy. If you're not going to be a set guy, you got to be a motivational guy. If you're not going to, you got to provide something. You have to. And that's what I'm saying here, guys, is Blazers, somebody, staff, janitor, watch this and tell me that he could not do a lot more for us. I like him. He's a great guy, man. I have nothing to say bad about him. I love him. But I think we deserve better.
Handling it between the wickets.
The problem is
with it.
It's actually a decent contest, and he stays on the floor. I'm okay with it.
And the Kings take the lead.
Don't like
10 seconds remaining. Up the floor, Avia.
Of course, we don't have a
going to get
timeout.
off the shot. Sings one up and short.
4 seconds left in an overtime game. We don't have a timeout left. Remember when we called that timeout earlier because we couldn't get the ball in on a baseline out of bounds? And then we called a timeout and then turned it over after? These are the things, guys. How can we expect to have, even if it's the most cohesive, talented roster in the league, how can we expect to compete with this? We can't. So, all right, guys, I'm done. I've had my fun. Tiago Splitter does some great things. I think he represents us well in certain aspects, but his on-the-court strategy, structure, organization, coaching, timeouts, off the court, on the court, his substitutions, general rotations, the combinations of players that he likes to run with, all these things are not efficient as they could be. They're not ideal. And I think I know there's a lot of even like hardcore local fans can sometimes be on the casual side of the spectrum relative to somebody like me, right? Who just loves it and lives and breathes it. And so I think there's a lot of Blazers fans who are just kind of happy with the position we're in, and I get that. I totally do. Like I said, this is my favorite roster we've ever had. I'm not complaining. But what I'm complaining about is they deserve better, right? He's a good guy, but making him an assistant coach, let his presence be what he provides, because it was before, but now it's not enough for things being asked of him, right? So we got to make a move, a judgment call, and I think preferably soon, because what I don't want is it gets to the point where we're trying to compete and now we need a new coach. We got to hire a new coach. The guy's got to learn. Nah, it's not cool. It's not right. It's not going to help the guys. And that type of stuff does matter quite a bit in basketball, especially, you're trying to build a unit that can win a championship. So I think we got all the talent here, guys. I'm more excited than ever for the Blazers, but Tiago Splitter, I don't think he's it for us. I truly do not think he is it for us. I hate to say it, but let me know your thoughts. Drop a like, subscribe, whatever. I haven't done any of that yet, so that feels a little bit weird to even say. But next video, I will have lighting, right? The audio will be mixed up a little bit better. It will be cuts in the video, and yeah, just a lot more well-structured and organized. So this is Tiago Splitter, film breakdown, Blazers film breakdown, and calling for help. Yep. Peace, boys.